Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Hey, y'all. I hope y'all doing good. Y'all can tell I feel just a touch better, right? It's been an action-packed morning already, but I am here, you guys, and it's February 3rd, right? We are here to do our devotion for February 3rd. Today's title for this devotion is entitled Mature Innocence. I'm confused. I don't know. So we're going to walk this thing out together, you guys. Our scripture comes from 1 Corinthians 14 and 20. And our morning version is the NSAB version. And our evening version of 1 Corinthians 14 and 20 is the ESV version. Okay? So let's read our scripture and then we're going to talk about it. 1 Corinthians 14:20 reads, "Do not be children in your thinking, yet in evil be infants, but in your thinking be mature." Okay. Let's look at our text here for a second. Let's look at our text. It says, kids are cute, except when they're throwing a tantrum in public, fighting with their siblings, or making silly gestures to people in the car beside them. Of course, we don't expect children to act appropriately in all situations. They are still growing and learning. It would, however, seem absurd if we saw an adult sit down on the floor of the supermarket in protest, or wailing loudly that they didn't want to go home. We expect adults to think and act with maturity as they have developed their understanding and respect for others, along with virtues such as self-control. Can you think of a situation that you might come across today that you will need to approach with maturity? Be encouraged that you are growing each day in the understanding of God and His Word. Be confident as you apply this understanding to your life. Okay, our prayer for today is, Lord, when I am tempted to act childish, remind me that I can rely on your strength and wisdom to be mature in all situations. Let's read our evening scripture and then we're going to talk just a tad bit about this. 1 Corinthians 14:20, the ESV version reads, "Brothers, do not be children in your thinking. Be infants in evil, but in your thinking be mature." Okay. I'm getting a little bit more clarity from this ESV version. If you're going to be childish in evil. Okay? If you're going to be immature or not as learned, be not as learned in evil. But in your thinking, always be mature. Is that what I'm getting? What is y'all? I mean, y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. Okay? Then our text says Paul's expectation of the church in Corinth was that they would handle difficult situations, especially relationships with other Christians, with maturity. There is an exception, but Paul hoped that the church would be as innocent as infants in matters of evil. We should be very careful to stay away from evil thoughts and actions and ensure that we grow only in the things of God. Okay? So don't let your evil ways, your evil doing grow and mature and get more professional and more experience. Keep that an infant. But in the things of God, that should always be growing and getting more mature and more seasoned as you go along. Okay, 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 okay. I've never, I don't, obviously I've read this scripture because I've read through the Bible, but I don't, this is helpful for me. This is impactful for me. And it's kind of like I'm seeing it for the first time, honestly, because I don't remember it. Okay, so my eyes have been open to this. I'd like to know what you guys think about this particular scripture, which is Corinthians 14 and 20. Let's do our evening prayer. God, I know there is always more growing and learning to do in my life. Thank you for another day of maturing. Thank you for helping me get through the day with your wisdom and grace. And then our question for ourselves today, February 3rd, is what areas of your life do you recognize God's maturing work in you? Now, I'm going to answer this for you guys. We listen. I feel like I am a kid at heart. I'm naturally silly, you know. I've always had this drawl. I've always had this sort of tenure in my voice. I've always sounded like a little old lady, even though I'm not, because I've always been around uh, elderly people. I've always loved elderly people. All my friends have always been more older than me or whatnot. But I still have always had this silly side up until I would say 2010. I was extremely physically fit. I ran every day. I walked every day. Cartwheels, you know what I'm saying? I love to climb and run and jump and all of this other stuff. And so, I was always, you know, bouncing around, kind of kiddish like, right? But I always still had this kind of way about me that was like super mature. People couldn't figure it out, right? Like my physically, I was one way, but when I opened my mouth, I seemed a lot, you know, I always talk like auntie. I mean, just what it is. Anywho, um, and I can very distinctly remember people feeling like, maybe I was a little childish. People want you to settle down. I always had high energy. I always liked to ask questions and stuff like that. And as you get older and as you get more seasoned, you spend more time being quiet and listening than you do, chatting it up, talking it up, wagging your tongue, as my daddy would say. All right. So I've always kind of been torn in that place, right? And especially when it comes to my siblings, it's not like we in our 40s and our 50s all together. When we are together, we still, what I'm saying, might bust each other upside the head with a pillow. We might still, what I'm saying, run and tell my mama. You know what I mean? My sister good for that. She'll run tell my mama something in a minute. She's a known tattletale child. Known tattletale. If you don't want nobody to know, don't tell my sister, cause she can't hold water, right? And so I think around my siblings, even now at 50, it's still gonna always be that way. Like we gonna argue, but we gonna be straight. We gonna you. She's touching me. I am not touching you. I am not touching you. We still like that to this day, right? But when it comes to being able to put our big boy, big girl panties on, we're here for it. When it comes to handling our business, that's what we do. When it comes to handling our parents' business and making sure they straight, that's what we do. Right? And it should always be the same no matter what, no matter how fun loving or how what a zest for life you have. When it comes to putting away those childish things, even those childish thoughts and those childish behaviors, or what people consider childish. Maybe you consider it to be more youthful, and walking in a more mature light. It's important to be able to make that transition. It's important to be able to get serious about the things of this world. And sometimes I can be torn there, you guys. I can. Because let's take, for instance, social media. I don't know why it bothers me, all of this singing and dancing on social media. I just feel like black people, that's what we always doing. I want us to get serious. At the same time, I could see how that would be boring. I could see how that would be boring. I could see that a good mix of everything is key, right? A lot of times I can be too serious when it comes to, especially culturally, things that are going on right now in this world. And I got a video planned that I'm going to do about that. We're going to talk about that maybe this weekend. But, it's a time and a place for everything. But when it comes to God's business, we should always be stepping up. But first, we got to know what God's will is for us, his plan for us in a situation. Maybe that situation does call for a light-hearted flair. You know what I'm saying? Still a level of maturity, but it's a light-hearted flair, right? Or maybe that situation calls for you to come in like Jesus in the temple and knock some tables over, you know what I'm saying? Flip some tables over and yoke some people up, you know what I'm saying? And maybe. But first we got to know God's will in the situation. First we got to know what God wants us to do. And that's why this continual, constant conversation with Christ is important, right? Lord, tell me what you need me to do here. Show me what you want me to do here. Show me what I need to say. How I can add comfort. Tell me, show me what my purpose in this situation, in this place, in this issue, in this instance is at this time. And he'll show you. Okay? He'll show you. He'll take what he's already given you and gifted you and what's called according to his will and your purpose, and he will make it applicable for the situation. But first we have to give him the opportunity. All right? And not always be usurping what our own personal feelings is. We just want to laugh. We just want to kid, right? No, God, what do you want me to do in this situation? In this situation, you may want me to have a more mature approach about it. Anyway, that was my take on this whole situation. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I'm sure you guys also have your silly times, your fun times, your times where you're not as mature. And you also have your times where you can get to it, right? I'd like to hear about it. You guys put it down below. Or if your takeaway from this scripture was something completely different from mine, please let me know. Put it down below. And until next time, honeybees, mwah, I'll holla.